Today we are going to learn more about the lore of goblins in World of Warcraft. Let's go.
Warcraft can be a pretty serious universe.
It's
There
a
are
huge
tons
one.
of dramatic epic battles and harrowing stories of pain and climactic earth-shattering events which have immense
Aw.
effects on the world. And then you have the goblins. The history of the goblins is the absolute
Gallywix.
antithesis to some of the more serious subjects in Warcraft. The lore I'll be talking about today is all canon and is some of my favorite stories ever told on Azeroth.
Really?
And most of it has to deal with the goblins and their immense love of gold. But goblins weren't always at the top of the economic food chain. Like most races on Azeroth, they started out with very humble beginnings and dealt with a foe you might be familiar with.
What's coming now? Labor ain't free.
Thousands of years ago, the goblins were enslaved on the island of Kazan by their Zandalari masters. Now, when the
You know what's interesting here? Because they were like enslaved by the Zandalari trolls. Now the goblins are in the horde and also the Zandalari trolls. How do they actually get along with each other? Like they have like a not so good past with each other, right? Like I'm actually wondering if there's any dialogue between the Zandalari trolls and goblins and they're having some issues with each other. Maybe they don't like each other, but they're together in the horde. So yeah, that's strange, right?
trolls first arrived to the island, they discovered an incredible ore called Kaja'mite. This valuable resource is something they would use for their shamanistic rituals, so they paid the goblins with shiny trinkets and other random things to put them to work. As the goblins worked, they realized that there was an incredibly immense amount of the ore under the island. So they decided that maybe enslaving the goblins would be a much more practical idea.
Then they don't have to do
years,
it.
The goblins were forced to suffer in the Kaja'mite mines, harvesting the precious green ore for their troll rulers. But little did the Zandalari know, Kaja'mite was no regular ore. The dust the goblins inhaled from the ore had the incredible ability to expand their intelligence. From deep within the mines, the goblins crafted ingenious gadgets and gizmos.
One thing I'm actually wondering with the Kaja'mite, if they stop consuming it and they no longer inhale the dust, or some Kaja'mite cola, because they're having this kind of drink now as well, right? So what happens with them? Will they become like stupid again, or will they remain smart? Is it kind of like they just take it in once and then they stay smart till they die? But if they have like newborn, they must give to the newborn also Kaja'mite. Is it like a one-time consumption, or they need it on a regular basis to stay smart? If anyone knows, please let me know in the comment section. And by the way, guys, if you're new to this channel, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more content. And yeah, they became super smart. They're like rivaling the gnomes now, right? Like they're both almost as smart.
To overthrow their troll rulers.
Wow. Holy shit.
I am science! I am genius!
They're addicted.
I'll take him out.
The Zandalari are in trouble. Oh no.
Prepare a mecha chicken.
The mecha chicken. That quest line was funny.
Have I got a bomb for you? Run for it!
One thing I'm also wondering, did it also make them a little crazy? Because I've noticed that like a lot of goblins are like a little, they have like a little loose screw or something in their head. They're like a little bit crazy, so, like most of them. There are a few more serious ones, but the majority of goblins are a little crazy. I wonder if this also does something besides making them more intelligent, like the Kaja'mite. All is fair in love and profit? What?
The battle was a decisive victory, and now the intelligently
They're selling
emboldened
the masks.
goblins created a bustling city on the island of Kazan. They built their metropolis above ground, but there was also an underground city called the Undermine, but we have never seen that one in game. Once
should
the
become a
Xandalari
dungeon.
were either killed, fled, or enslaved, the goblins started to turn on each other. Most of them split into various groups called cartels. Many rose and fell, but the prominent ones that have stood the test of time are the Venture Company, the Steam Weedle, and the Bilgewater. These coalitions feuded with each other during battles called the Trade Wars. But these wars were not the traditional wars you'd expect. It was messy and violent skirmishes that erupted
Let me
all
guess, there's a
throughout the
bomb
city.
inside. Oh no?
How generous.
I knew it!
Say hello to my little friend.
Say hello to
I
my
am the
little friend.
Say hello.
Scarface. One thing is interesting, like the goblins, sometimes they give me like mafia vibes, right? Like if you look at the cartels and the way they function, and also Gallywix and stuff, they're kind of like a reference to real life mafia or something. Like I'm pretty sure that's what they intended when they designed the goblins. Holy shit.
We know that there was at least 4
I love
trade
goblins,
wars,
though.
and the final war was called the Peace War, which was actually the most violent one. Although there were many
You know, that's actually crazy to call a war a peace war. Because with war, there's never peace. Like, what is this? 100 gazillion. 100 gazillion. Holy shit. There's like a... What does it say here? Goblin are mad inventors who produce useful gadgets despite their chaotic, crazed, and explosive-oriented mindsets.
most violent one. Although there were many wars, all of them had the same result. No goblin actually won. It was
Ouch.
all just needless violence in the pursuit for power. Eventually, the cartels made a truce and decided to battle it out in the economic arena instead. Also, the Kaja'mite deposits under Kazan did not last forever, and as the supply ran out, so did their intelligence, leading their inventions to be rather unreliable, which became a staple in goblin engineering.
So here we have the answer. Yo, that sucks actually. So they need the Kaja'mite even in their lifetime, in their lifespan, to actually stay smart. I thought this was like, maybe they just consume it once and they're good for like many years, maybe even till they die. So, yo, they're then behind gnomes a little bit. Like gnomes are very smart by birth and they're always smart, right? And goblins, they can rival the gnomes with intelligence, but only if they consume the Kaja'mite. Okay, yo, what can they actually do in like the future? Like, let's say they have Kaja'mite for the next 200-300 years. What happens in like 400 years? What will happen to goblins in the future, I wonder?
The cartel we know most about in Warcraft lore is the Bilgewater. The former trade prince was called Prince Maldi, but
Prince
this prince
Maldi.
had gotten a bit soft over the years
Is
and
he
started
Maldi
to let his
now?
guard down. A recipe for bankruptcy in goblin society. Like a financial shark with razor-sharp teeth, an up-and-coming businessman named Jaster Gallywix exploited this weakness. Gallywix played the long game and
Gallywix
bought
is a
out
tricky
all
one.
of Maldi's staff and replaced them with his own mercenaries. He bought out his manor, he bought the store Maldi rented his jewelry from, and he also destroyed his fleet of trade ships.
Oh,
You
no.
gotta be kidding me!
But wait, Maldi did have a daughter called Nessa, which Gallywix had fallen madly in love with,
It's beautiful!
then asked her to marry him when they first met. She refused.
You think you're better than me? You think you're better than me?
Oh no.
So he subsequently
revenge.
exiled both of them from Kazan and arranged for Maldi's accidental death.
This one wants to be the big boss. Sorry, Bob. The
Yo, I don't like Gallywix, to be honest. Like, I'm actually glad Gaslow took over. Like, Gallywix, he has two faces. Like, he doesn't seem trustworthy at all. Like, even during the quest line, like, he freaking betrayed us. He tried to enslave us and stuff. Like, I don't like this dude.
Position's been filled by me.
But he's a meme sort of in the WoW
Now,
community. So.
Gallywix isn't a monster. He still keeps in contact with Nessa by sending her paintings every year of him enjoying his lavish riches he rightfully stole from her
Miss
father.
you. Is she
All
still
this lore
alive though?
comes from Gallywix's self-help book, Trade Secrets of a Trade Prince. And,
He has his own
really,
book!
The book is just 15 pages of actual content.
So he does have a book, but it's only freaking 15 pages. You're really kidding me, right? Like, what kind of book is that? Yo, we need to read this book at some point. Like, seriously. Oh, but what is with this girl? Like, so can we actually find her in game? Like, I would love to speak to her and see what she has to say about Gallywix.
In 300 pages of old newspapers, but sorry, no refunds.
No refunds.
All hail the greatest trade prince on Azeroth. Me.
For 20 years, Trade Prince Gallywix dominated the business landscape of Bilgewater Port. Gallywix ordered his workers to dig as deep as they could into the earth to rip out as much of the remaining Kaja'mite as possible so they could make his new profitable drink, Kaja-Cola.
Drink
Kaja-Cola.
Kaja-Cola.
While digging, they were the first people to ever discover Azerite on Azeroth. Azerite being the literal crystallized blood of Azeroth that is immensely powerful. But, Gallywix isn't a geologist, so he just thought, it was just a shiny rock, and he fashioned it into an orb on his cane, and didn't bother telling anybody about it until the events of Battle for Azeroth.
Thank you for your hard work and dedication.
What does it do?
Unpaid overtime is approved for all.
What does it actually do, like the Azerite to goblins? Does it also make them smarter, or is it just Kaja'mite, I wonder?
Unpaid overtime is approved for all.
But Gallywix wasn't the only one making money moves. One of his former proteges has been taking steps in stealing his position. And that goblin is the player character.
Oh.
You see, how the player character is able to do this is they're able to disrupt Gallywix's bottom line by cornering the market on aluminum manufacturing. What this does is it degrades Gallywix's supply and ultimately undervalues Gallywix's trades. They're able to player character really have a single strength equity and their ability.
OMG.
The sun has set on this mortal world, fools.
So basically, just because of Deathwing, we didn't get to become the Trade Prince. So this ruined our career, basically. So if we play as a goblin, we're actually about to dethrone Gallywix and become like the new big Trade Prince. But because Deathwing arrives, that's why everything is ruined. Like, our career is just going down or something. Oh shit. He actually quit us, holy shit. Deathwing, like, goblin players must hate Deathwing, I'm sure.
Suddenly, boom, a World of Warcraft expansion just came out, and Mount Kajaro just erupted. Also, there's a bunch of pirates here that Gallywix hired to kill the player character. The goblins of Kazan took this a variety of ways. Many panicked, some just kept partying, but the smart ones took advantage of this travesty.
Who's ready to make some money?
My favorite example of this is Vinny Slapchop.
What did he do?
He is an entrepreneur who is trying to make a profit by selling rocks from the volcanic explosion. The same explosion that is going to leave the island of Kazan in ruin.
I see great profit possibility on the horizon. All of Bilgewater Port's assets are about to flow to me.
But Vinny is small fish compared to what Gallywix has brewed up. Conveniently, there's only one ship in Bilgewater Port, and it's Gallywix's yacht. He charged citizens
What happened to the
a
other ships?
ludicrous amount of gold for a spot on the boat, so only the rich goblins were able to escape from certain doom. And in a panic, most of these goblins didn't read the fine print of the deal, which stated that the survivors on the boat are now contractually obligated to be his slaves.
Ready, my yacht! We ride with the tide, and only the most wealthy and fit will be welcome to come with us.
But what happens to the rest of them? Will we ever get back there? Are there some survivors? Like, did this volcano really destroy everything or just parts of the city, I wonder? Or did they maybe all go to the undermine and hide there? Yeah, the undermine is there as well, and if the lava flows on the surface, can't they just go to the undermine and be there, like, for some time until it's over with the volcano? Because that's also possible, right? Maybe, I don't know.
Welcome to come with us. We shall sail for distant Ajara. There I will forge a new trade empire. One that will crush the Steamweedle cartel. And I shall carve my likeness upon that distant land's mountains. All will pay tribute to me.
Before Gallywix and his enslaved crew could reach the sandy shores of Ashara, they found themselves caught in a naval battle between the Horde and the Alliance and were utterly destroyed.
That's how we joined the Horde. The lost narrative?
Hello there! So nice of you to rescue me. No hard feelings, right? We'll be on our way to our new home in Azara before you know it. Despite the bumbling interference of you-know-who.
The Bilgewater Goblins found themselves on the nearby, conveniently named Lost Isles. And
one thing I actually love about starting as a goblin, you actually, I think it's only the goblins that have this, that you are a very, very important character from the beginning. Like, if you make let's say, a human, an orc, it doesn't matter what, or a troll, you're just like a literal nobody when you start, right? You're just like a recruit, like let's say a warrior recruit or paladin recruit or something. But if you start as a goblin, it doesn't even matter which class you pick, you're already very, very important, and like, you really feel like the main character. Like, one thing they did so well about the starting questline for the goblin, they give the players the feeling that you are the main character. I like that a lot about the start as a goblin.
needed to find a way to escape. Coincidentally, the goblins weren't the only ones stranded on this island. The Horde had established a foothold on the Lost Isles and needed the Bilgewater Goblins' help to find some sort of precious cargo the Alliance had. Player character goes, kills an Alliance, gets on a boat, and...
Yo, what's up? It's me, Thrall. You know, I love nothing more than when the Horde and the Alliance get together and are friendly. Because saving Azeroth is much more important.
True.
That being said, have you ever turned into a tornado and electrocuted hundreds of Alliance sailors before?
Ah, I loved it. You were so OP.
I see the traitor is here to rescue you, Warchief. How convenient. You think you're such a big shot, saving everyone and making friends with these orc savages. I'm gonna crush you. I'm the trade prince, me! I got a plan that's gonna get me off this island and make me the king of Ajara. Mark my words, I'm gonna get you. I'll get you all. Out of my way!
What? A turtle can do that?
So this is the part where the narrative of our story starts to fall apart for gameplay reasons. What happens next is... you blow...
How did he edit that? He's still this walking target dummy. Yo, I love Platinum WoW's edits, like, I swear, that's so funny.
What happens next is... you blow up a bunch of explosives that turn into a town, and then you control...
Yeah, that made absolutely no sense. Like, this quest, like, my brain was, like, hurting from this. Like, we have literally giant dynamite thingies here, then you just freaking push that button, a big explosion happen, we get blown to the air, we come back down again, and there's, like, suddenly a freaking small town. Like, what the heck?
You blow up a bunch of explosives that turn into a town, and then you control a giant shark with laser beams. Then you fight Old God Empowered Naga,
cool,
then
though.
you fight pygmy people,
shark
then you
one.
fight a bunch of zombified goblins, then you use rocket boots to fly into the mouth of a volcano, then you kill Turtle God with an RPG, which then erupts the volcano. Trust me, I wish I could give you guys context to all of these events, but there is none. And our story ends in the most
chaotic.
perplexing way possible. How it ends is the player liberates all of the enslaved goblins, and with the help of Thrall, we defeat Gallywix.
Nobody messes with me! No! Uncle! I give! You guys are too much for me. I'm beaten. You've shown me the error of my ways.
Now, the incredibly confusing part is Gallywix gives up and Thrall just lets him continue to be the leader of the Bilgewater.
Yeah, that's something I don't get. Like, Gallywix, he betrayed the goblins. He even tricked them. Like, he's not a good leader for the goblins, but he remains in power at this part. This is something that was like so confusing. Like, what they should have done, that's my opinion from a writing perspective, they should have had like a second character that's besides Gallywix. That's maybe like his, let's say his assistant or someone that's like maybe not related to him at all. And this one becomes the new trade prince or something. Like, I get it that we as a player can't be that because we are exploring, we have like our own story, and we do need some freedom for some RP, right? Like, let's say you make a freaking goblin warlock and you want to be one that freaking studies demons and travels all across the world, all across Azeroth to learn more about summoning demons and stuff. Like, we as players, of course, can't be trade prince. It makes sense. But why Gallywix? Why didn't we get like another NPC? Like later, okay, Gaslow came, but why for so many expansions he was the freaking trade prince, like the leader of the goblins, of the Blightwater goblins? Makes no sense.
Error of my ways.
Now, the incredibly confusing part is Gallywix gives up and Thrall just lets him continue to be the leader of the Bilgewater. You know,
Thrall gives the lead to
Gallywix
people
hired
too easily.
mercenaries to kill his own people, stole all their money, and then enslaved them. Now, I get it. The lore in the Goblin starting zone is not meant to be taken seriously. It's kind of like a cartoon show. But when you incorporate serious characters like Thrall into the mix, it kind of just leaves the viewer to be kind of confused and not really sure what's going on.
Yeah. What's that?
Gallywix got what he wanted and turned Ajara into a bustling trade port and an industrial complex. The most notable things built are a giant cannon that still hasn't been shot yet, a complex highway, Gallywix's giant face carved into the side of a mountain, and his lovely pleasure palace, which includes a hot tub and a place to golf. But my favorite addition is they just terraformed a whole bunch of Ajara and turned it into the Horde logo.
I love
for
that.
no particular reason, and it's just absolutely ridiculous. But that's a good thing. Goblins are one of, if not my favorite race in WoW, because they are the epitome of one of the reasons why I enjoy Warcraft's lore so much. This universe's lore is at its best when it lets unique races and characters ham it up and do cool shit for the sake of doing cool shit.
Those paintings.
It's like a comic book. Yes, there is an underlying sense of logic that keeps things relatively grounded and cohesive. But at the end of the day, it's meant to be taken at face value. Like, why do we still use swords and shields when there's magic and advanced technology?
Exactly. Why not everyone walks around with like a freaking gun, bazooka, or some rifle or something? Yeah. I mean, the gnomes could provide this to the humans, right? I mean, there are some dwarves already that use freaking guns and rifles because of the gnomes, but I'm surprised that so few humans actually use that, right? It's strange. And now we have like the mecha gnomes even. And they are like even more smarter. Like the mecha gnomes can freaking replace even body parts with mechanical ones. So if there's like any accident during war, they can just fix the body again, make it like part mechanic.
Who cares?
Mechanical
Accept
limbs.
it for what it is, because it's a fantasy world to get lost in. Like, how can you take this universe's lore seriously when there's a section where a bunch of little green people snort Adderall ore, which makes them suddenly learn how to craft a machine gun? Does that make sense? No, not really, but
Not
it's
at all.
fun and unique. And at the end
I
of
love
the
the
day,
architecture.
that is
It's
what really
interesting.
matters. And what keeps me and many others captivated by the story that has been told so far. But seriously, what is going on at the end of the starting zone? It makes no sense.
Yeah. I did like the ending as well. Like everything was good
I'm
until the
going
end.
to hit the sauna for some R&R. So bring me a frozen cocktail and some cocoa butter.
They all worked on that, right? God.
Mooks, where's my cocoa butter? What part of cocoa and butter did you not get? Why is this cocoa butter so slippery? Yeah, get me a towel! Whoever bought the slippery cocoa butter is fired!
Cocoa butter. That's it? Okay. Now, that's interesting, but I feel the same way like Platinum WoW does with like the ending of the Goblins starting quest line. Like this with Gallywix remaining in power, it didn't make any sense, and he was even like doing something that affected the Horde in a negative way, right? And like all those mercenaries he hired and everything. Like a lot didn't make any sense at the end. Like it was so strange. Like what they could have done is they could have used like another goblin NPC or something like that, and either he is the troublemaker and Gallywix is kind of like in the background, even though he's still who he is, he doesn't do so many major things, right? And there's like another one that also wants to be Trade Prince, kind of like you have a triangle of 3 characters, that's you, another one and Gallywix, and then one of the triangles will be killed at the end and there's only 2 left, and you for some reason you step out, you're no longer gonna be Trade Prince and it's Gallywix or the other one. Yeah, this was a bit weird, the storyline. But yeah, goblins are very fascinating, and the way they go about their inventions is so different from the gnomes. The gnomes, they want to make everything as compact and pretty as possible, and goblins, they just want something that's practical. It can even have malfunctions, it doesn't matter if it completely works or not. And they build stuff that looks way more rough, right? Like even if you look at their buildings and stuff, they look like a little bit rusty, a little bit dirty, but at the same time it still looks modern and stuff. And what's so cool is like the vehicles of the goblins. They have like freaking cars and motorcycles and stuff. Like goblins are very smart, like don't get me wrong, but I'm wondering about the future of goblins without the Kaja'mite, because it will run out. Like they need to come up with like a plan B or something to stay smart, or maybe use some sort of magic or something. Maybe find a way to make smaller amounts of Kaja'mite last longer or more effective than they are now. I don't know. But there needs to be something done, otherwise like the goblins will be one day super stupid. You know, this was a very, very informative video. Like I love checking out those lore videos by Platinum WoW. I think they're very funny, they're very detailed, and we learn a lot. Like I know now more about my goblin shadow priest that I made not too long ago. And this was a really fun quest line. If you haven't played a goblin yet and you consider making an alt, like try a goblin, try the quest line. It's very, very funny. There are a lot of fun quests at the beginning, and you're gonna laugh also at some of the quests. Like it's funny. And yeah, if you guys are new to this channel, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more content. And if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give this one a thumbs up. And I will see you guys next time.